Good afternoon and welcome to the regularly scheduled board meeting for the Sunshine Coast Regional District for Thursday, January 22nd, 2026. It's 1:03 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that the SCRD is located on the traditional territories of the Shishak and Squamish Nations. Directors, we do have an amended agenda in front of us today. I know that there's at least one more thing to amend on this agenda, which would be to strike item 6.7 from the agenda, which is the placement of notice on title. Yeah, we've got some information from the chief building official that that's being worked on, so it doesn't need to be on our agenda today. And then Director McMahon, I believe you wanted to add a motion to the agenda.
Yes, I wish to add a motion to the agenda.
All right, so that'll be item 8.3,
Okay.
AVICC Youth Delegate.
Right.
Okay. Directors, any other changes to the agenda? If not, can I have a motion to adopt the agenda, please? Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Thank you. That is carried. First up, item 3.1, we've got the regular board meeting minutes of January 8th, 2026. Before we move to adopt, directors, are there any errors or omissions? This is a replacement set of minutes from the original agenda because staff did catch something that needed to be corrected. And so, give everybody a moment. If not, can I have a motion to adopt the minutes, please? Moved, seconded. All those in favor? Thank you, that's carried. Directors, is there any business arising from the minutes or unfinished business? If not, gone. Okay. Moving on, item 6.1, Electoral Area Services Committee meeting recommendations 1 through 7 of January 15th, 2026. Before we move to endorse the block, are there any that directors want to pull for separate discussion? Seeing no hands, can I have a motion to endorse the block? Moved, seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you, that's carried. All right, item 6.2, amendment to contract number 2465001, construction management services for the development of a community hall. And we'll turn this over to our manager of asset management.
Thank you. In the spirit of Captain Corrections, I just noticed a math error on the recommendations. So the total contract amount should not exceed 2.86 million instead of 2.85 million. Other than that, staff are available to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. And that's not a $10,000 escalation since the agenda was published, just
bad math, thanks.
Thank you. Directors, any questions about this item? Director Gabius.
Yeah, no question. That seems pretty straightforward. Budget was already, the amount was already budgeted for, just a matter of including it in the contract that already exists. So I will move the recommendations on page 16 with that amendment.
Thank you, and I've got seconders for that. This is all directors as a weighted vote. Is there any discussion on the motion? If not, I will call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion's carried. Thank you, Manager Doyle. Next up, we have the North Pender Harbor Water Main Replacement Contract Award. This is item 6.3 on page 19 of our agenda. And Manager Waldorf, welcome.
Thanks, Chair. This report just seeks direction to award the construction contract for the North Pender Harbor Water Main Replacement Project. Staff are recommending proceeding with priority sections 1 and 2 to address the highest risk infrastructure and to maintain some economy of scale for the project. Thanks.
Great, thank you very much. I'm going to look to the area director first to see if there's any questions or.
I don't actually have any questions, and if nobody else has questions, I would like to make a motion to accept the recommendations as presented on page 19.
Thank you very much. And I've got a seconder. Yeah, this is all directors as a weighted vote as well. So that is now on the floor. Any discussion? Don't want to move too fast. Give everybody an opportunity. If not, I will call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion's carried. All right. And with that, we'll move on to item 6.4, which is Seashell Landfill BC Hydro connection. Manager Waldorf, is this you as well? Okay.
Sorry, thanks, Chair. This report is requesting a modest budget increase to complete the Seashell Landfill BC Hydro connection. Additional funding is required to finish the remaining internal civil and electrical works and allow the project to be brought into service.
Great. Thank you very much. Director McMahon.
Heavens, thank heavens, we're finally getting power to the landfill. It's in sight now, finally, and so I'm really glad. But we do have costs for bringing power to the landfill, but we are also saving expenditures that we would have if we didn't have power. Is there some way that we capture that, our cost savings, to balance off the expenditures, to paint the picture of why this pays for itself in the long run?
Thank you, Director McMahon. And that was notes I had made myself because, yeah, there's mention of increased hydro costs, but we're also decreasing our fuel costs. So, CAO?
Yeah, once it comes into commission, we will review the budget. I'm not quite sure what the timing of that is. We haven't anticipated anything into the 2026 financial plan, but most certainly for 2027 as part of the base budget review, we'll take that into account. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, follow up.
Yeah, we should tell the story when we're able to save money of, improvements we're making. Thank you.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know how much we've spent on generator rental fuel over the last 5 years, 6 years. And that, those are permanent savings that we're going to have going forward. So, Director Inkster.
Yeah, I'm glad to see this, the light at the end of the tunnel, another metaphor there. I always assumed that, and I've used the landfill since it was called a dump. And that's how long I've used it. And I always assumed there was power. I just assumed there was power up there. That's how, in a sense, how it's time to put power to the landfill, right? So it's good to see.
Yep. I think the solar system that we had up there for quite a while did a great job of running the facility, but last term, pretty much the whole system sort of fell apart all at once. Director McMahon?
Yes, and not having consistent power limited the services and activities that we have been able to do. Therefore, I would like to move the recommendations on page 27.
Thank you very much. And I've got a seconder for that. This is, again, it's a weighted vote. This one's participating directors, which is everybody anyways. I'll look to see if there's any more discussion. Alternate Director De Andrade.
No, actually, the manager was going to, I think, respond the comment. No? I had the impression.
I had prepared notes on the diesel fuel costs from a year. The numbers escaped me, but it was a 5-digit number, so there was tens of thousands spent on fuel and general maintenance and stuff on the generator in a year. Several years of being on hydropower at a significantly reduced rate compared to the generator costs will make a big impact. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, I don't see any other hands up. I will call the question then. All those in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you very much. And thank you, Manager Waldorf. All right, item 6.5 on page 31, refrigeration system reconstruction, condenser replacement budget increase and contract award. And I see Manager Van Velzen online. Was there anything you wanted to introduce or hear for questions?
I can do a short introduction if you like, Chair.
Sure, go ahead.
So the report submitted for your consideration today seeks authorization for a $115,000 increase to the project budget to be funded through capital reserves, along with approval to award the construction contract to replace the refrigeration system condenser and associated components at the Gibson's Area Community Center. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Directors, any questions? Director McMahon and then Director Lee.
I noted somewhere in the report, it said that the new system will make more efficient use of water. And I was just wondering if there were any other efficiencies. Is it a little more efficient with our hydro or anything else? Easier to operate? Just curious.
Manager Van Velzen.
No, predominantly the efficiencies will be gained in water usage.
Great. Thank you very much. Director Lee.
Is there any other system that you can use other than ammonia? Because ammonia is not all that safe, eh? But
Little late in the process to be asking that question, but I'll look to either Manager Van Velzen or GM Gagnon if either of them wanted to weigh in on, you know, what other alternatives are out there than just ammonia.
Thank you, Chair. There are other alternative refrigerants available, but predominantly ammonia is it's one of the more efficient refrigerants, especially on the scale of ice arena. So there are other things you can look at like Freon or CO2, but that would be a much higher cost to the plant upgrade.
Thank you. And GM Gagnon, I see you want to weigh in.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to follow up because, you know, with an incident a number of years ago at Fernie and another incident, I just want to assure the public that TSBC has some very, very strong guidelines and requirements in place now for safety of employees and patrons at plants that are ammonia-based, and so we take that very seriously. And in fact, I believe that's part of this report as well, as one of those safety features that we want to enhance in our current system. So yeah, there's no fooling around with that anymore. It's more stringent in BC than in other places in the country. Thank you.
Thank you. And I know that it's commonly come up with groups that want to like rent our arena and rec center and stuff like that outside of standard hours. Because we've got the refrigeration plant that uses ammonia, we have to have staff on hand every hour that facility is accessible, even if the plant isn't being operated. So, directors, any more discussion? Alternate Director Wynn.
Thank you, Chair. Just an operational question. On the ammonia water absorption, does that water get removed? Is it contaminated at any point, and what happens to it? Or is it just there all the time and absorbing the ammonia?
Interesting question. I don't know if Manager Van Velzen, if you want to answer that or follow up offline.
Sure, I can answer that if you like. So the ammonia water absorption tank, it's there just in case of a critical emergency on the plant, at which time the ammonia would be transferred from out of the system into the absorption tank. If that were to occur, that water is contaminated and it would have to be disposed of appropriately at that time.
So it's there as a fail-safe.
Follow up then, what is the appropriate disposal of ammonia contaminated water?
I think it's outside the scope of the contract award question at the moment, so I am interested in that answer, but I think that's something we'll follow up on offline. Any other discussion about the contract award? I don't have it on the floor yet. Would somebody like to make a motion? Director Gavious?
Yes, let me find the page number. I would like to move the recommendations as they appear on page 31.
Thank you very much, and I've got a seconder for that. This is also all directors as a weighted vote because it's contract award. Any other discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Thank you, that's carried. Thank you, Manager Van Velzen. Next up, we have item 6.6, which is the parcel tax roll review panel, scheduling and appointees. This is on page 36 of the agenda. Manager Wing, welcome. Was there anything you wanted to introduce on this? I think it's a pretty standard process every year. Ultimately, we're looking for volunteers. And, all right, Director Gabius, are you volunteering? I'm volunteering. Okay, Director McMahon is volunteering?
Yeah, I didn't do it last time, so maybe I should take a kick at it.
Okay. Do we have a third volunteer?
Okay, tell me more. When is it?
Well, according to the notes on page 36 here, the proposal would be that it would be scheduled for February 26th at 9 a.m. February 26th is a Thursday prior to our regular meetings. Okay, Director Inkster is volunteering as well. So, motion that Director Inkster, Director McMahon, and Director Gabius be appointed to the Parcel Tax Roll Review Panel, and that the Parcel Tax Roll Review Panel sitting be scheduled for February 26, 2026 at 9 a.m. to be held at the SCRD Boardroom. So moved, seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you very much. Thank you, Manager Wing. Thank you to my volunteers. And yeah, with that, we will move on. 6.7's been struck from the agenda, so we'll move to 6.8, which is strategic plan update. And we will turn this over to our CAO.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So this is an update of the board's strategic plan accomplishments up to date, so up to December 31st. And so happy to take any questions if there are any. Just noting that there's been a lot of progress, and even today there's items within the solid waste management plan that really moves the various focus areas and goals and tactics and objectives to conclusion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Directors, any questions? Director Gabius.
Yeah, not a question, but just want to echo what the CEO just said. Today, in particular, I think it felt like a lot. You notice just like so much is being done by staff, and I think that's not it's not a coincidence. I think that the focus of the strategic plan with the corporate work plan, I think it seems to all be kind of culminating now, and I think we're finding kind of the groove, which is really great. There's like a lot of projects that are being completed that are in the pipeline. So I'm like, just today in particular, it just feels like, there's a lot of things to celebrate. So just well done, everybody.
Thank you for that. Alternate Director De Andrade.
Thank you. It's just more curiosity, and maybe, I don't know if staff has this out of their hands, but their heads. This regards the leak resolution program, and it says that there's an estimated over 335,000 liters per day reduction. And I was just trying to picture how much this corresponds to the daily usage, or.
Good question. GM Rosenboom.
Thank you for the question. On a daily basis, on a day like today, we're producing about 10 million. So it's about a third on a day like today.
Wow.
It's 3,000, was it, that you mentioned?
300 and...
300.
335,000.
Okay, no, it's not a third, it's 3%. But still, 3-4%.
Okay. And that's just where we're at so far, because there is still some more meters that need to go in.
And we're still finding leaks every day.
Yeah. So, excellent. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
That's just I'm not sure if this is an error, but the Sunshine Coast Arena well investigation, it's at 0%, but I thought it was done. Is it? No?
What page are you on? I'm sorry, I'm not seeing it.
Is the last item on the page 50.
Yeah, it's the last item on page 50.
Thank you. Yeah, if you look in the comments there, board approved proceeding to phase 1, which would include design and permitting. So I guess from that perspective, the 0% here could be looked at from a implementation perspective or CAO?
Yeah, so that was one of the items that was below the line in the corporate work plan, so it was paused. There is some more information coming at round 2 budget just about that one and some alternative options there.
Okay, thank you. GM Gagnon?
Thank you, Chair. So just to be clear, that was a board report that came back in September. So the investigation as to whether the well can service or not has been complete. And the board approved staff to move forward, so that would be work that would start in 2026. But it's only on submitting license permits and then getting the design done. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for that reminder. Directors, any other questions, comments? I think this is a good news story. As Director Gabius has mentioned, right? We really drilled down into focus on the critical infrastructure things here on the coast, and we are making progress. And I think it's important to recognize that when we can. I don't see any other hands up though, so with that, we're gonna move on. Now, we have no communications, but we do have motions. So item 8.1 would be for meeting time adjustments. This is on the cover page of the agenda. There's nothing actually in the PDF document other than on the cover. And so this would be that the 2026 meeting schedule will be amended to move Electoral Area Services Committee meeting time from 9:30 to 1 p.m. And that the regularly scheduled board meeting of April 30th, 2026 be moved to 1:30 p.m. to accommodate the Sunshine Coast Regional Hospital District Board meeting scheduled at 1 p.m. Moving that, Director McMahon? Thank you, and I've got a seconder for that. We've talked about this already, moving the EAS to allow us opportunity if we need to have a session in the morning or call a special meeting or, you know, just leave some time in the morning, because usually by the time we finish our meetings, we're done and tired and ready to go home. So by leaving some time in the morning, that gives us a little more flexibility in the calendar. Is there any other discussion on the motion? If not, I will call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. And so item 8.2, resolutions to AVICC. I'm going to turn to Director McMahon.
Yes, we discovered that the Regional District of Nanaimo is doing a similarly intended resolution, and they've put a lot of work and research into it, so we thought this one was probably redundant. So I'd like to move to, what's the polite word?
Move to abandon.
Abandon, ah, yes. I was gonna say scrap, but that's, so I'd like to move to abandon this resolution.
Thank you, and I've got a seconder for that. Alternate Director Wynn.
Thank you, and thank you, Director McMahon. Director Stamford and I did talk about this. I believe she brought the motion forward originally, and then it came to light that RDN, as Director McMahon said, so it'll probably be covered, and Director Stamford is fine with abandoning this and letting it die.
Great. Thank you. Any other comments from directors? If not, I'll call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, thank you. And finally, item 8.3, AVICC Youth Delegate. I'll turn it over to Director McMahon again.
Yes, AVICC has a program whereby they sponsor applications from qualified students that can be either high school or post-secondary to attend the conference. The AVICC pays 100% of the conference cost and 50% of the associated travel and accommodation costs. for qualified youth delegates to attend our annual conference, which is in Victoria in April. A resident of Area E is interested, a political science student at UVic, and I would like us to sponsor his application, which I did circulate to the board. We have run into some possible funding challenges, but our MLA's office has agreed to step up if we aren't directly able to fund it, but we still need to sponsor the application because we are an AVICC member. So I would like to move that we sponsor an application for the AVICC Student Participation Program.
And I've got a seconder for that. Thank you. Director McMahon, I think you've done a decent job introducing it. At this point, there is no cost implication for the regional district. It is just a sponsorship of an application for this program. I know we've talked about, possible funding options in the background. And so if there is something that needs to come forward, we have time to do that. So I think in the meantime, it's a good opportunity. Any other discussion from directors? If not, I will call the question. All those in favor? And thank you, that's carried. Okay, so that takes us to the end of motions. It's a lot of motions for one board meeting. We have no bylaws, but we do have directors' reports. And I normally start with Area A, but I think this time I'm going to start with alternate Director Wynn, and we'll come in, and then we'll work our way out to Director Lee.
Thank you. It's short. No director's report from Area.
Short and sweet.
Pass.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Wynn. Director Bax.
Yeah, thank you. Not a lot to report, but I did want to bring forward an event that's happening on Sunday. It's called Project All In Foundation. It's the Roberts Creek Firefighter Society is inviting all first responders, frontline workers to join them for this free event focused on mental health and mental illness and how it impacts the roles in their services. And so that's this Sunday at 7 p.m. at Roberts Creek Hall. I inadvertently misplaced the location in my newsletter to the fire hall. It's not at the fire hall, it's at our community hall. And people can sign up for it at societyrcfire@gmail.com. And so I hope that our first responder brothers and sisters can take advantage of this program to take care of themselves. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Director Bax. Director Gabius.
Thank you, Chair. Just a few things. BCMCLC had an online dialogue with Minister Adrian Dix a couple weeks ago. There's a recording that's available. I can circulate that for everyone who's interested. It was 45 really interesting minutes. Minister Dix loves to talk, and we heard a lot about the kind of the state of climate policy at the provincial level in the bigger context, like in the global affairs context, which was really interesting. So I can circulate that. And Community Energy Association is collaborating with Climate Caucus for a call tomorrow, a new BC chapter call on Clean BC Review, the recommendations for local government. So that's tomorrow at 11. That was, got this by email, but I can also circulate that for those who are interested. And I attended also a really wonderful cocktail event at Cooper's Green Hall that was put together by the Community Association, and it was absolutely lovely. It was so nice walking in there. They made it look really warm and inviting, and it was such a great opportunity to bump into people. I had met so many friends, so many people I knew, and had such great conversations, and I'm really excited as to what they're going to do there. And I was asked, I wish more directors had come because we want to say thanks for the support. So sorry I didn't maybe distribute the invite to everybody, but just so you know, there's a lot of gratitude from the Community Association and the community in general. So thank you.
Thank you, Director Gabius. You get to be the hero if you don't invite anybody else to share the spotlight, right? So, Director McMahon.
Right. I thought about going, but the weather was particularly foul that day. Yeah, it really was. And the prospect of staying home warm and dry was appealing. Also, another thumbs up for that Adrian Dix conversation, because that was quite the download of perspective on climate issues. No cocktails in Area E, at least that I had anything to do with, but we did have the winter social for the Community Association on January 17th at Frank West Hall. It was a small group, but it was actually an extremely pleasant evening. I brought crokinole, other people brought cards and other games, and we all had a really good time. I am working with a small committee, which includes Director Gabius, on the Women's Campaign School for the upcoming elections. So please save the date, Saturday, February 28th at Davis Bay Hall. More to come, but we are covering the municipalities, the SCRD, School District 46, and Islands Trust. Unfortunately, the timing was not good for the Sechelt Nation, who will already have held their election. Tomorrow, I have an AVICC executive meeting. I just thought I'd say a little bit about what's going on there, because we're about to have a strategic planning session. The major focus of the Area Association for the last number of years has been organizing our annual conference, which is the largest of the Area Association conferences. But a number of things have changed. First, we moved out of our parents' basement. We no longer share offices with UBCM, so we had to set up independently. And all of that has been done, is dusted, and we're ready to go. And then UBCM is changing some of their processes, like around resolutions. And the net result of that is likely to be putting more pressure on area associations to step up our advocacy efforts on behalf of our members on what the province considers to be regional issues. We don't always agree, but that's okay. As part of what we're looking at adding more seats to the executive. Our organization is the largest of the 5 area associations, and we have the smallest board. We have 7 board members plus the past president. Another issue that's come to our attention is there has been a lack of participation from governments in the Metro Victoria area in recent years. We have a member right now, but only one. And that has led us to explore creating a seat specifically for the CRD, member government of the CRD. So very likely we will be recommending changes to the makeup of the executive to go to the conference in April for a vote. If that goes through, then we would get that through the membership, then that would open up more seats potentially so that there would be more nominations open at the conference for places on the executive. And I also, because we're coming up on election year, I think this is a good time to bring in some new directors, board members who hopefully will provide more continuity across the election. And I just, finally, I thought it was, and nomination deadline is February the 12th, in case you were thinking about it. Talking to some folks, it's also interesting that the larger cities feel that UBCM and the area associations are heavily weighted to representing smaller communities. I think that's true. Whether they view this as a problem or not is another question, but that's how we get our voices heard. I don't think that the city of Vancouver needs to go to their area association in order to have their issues raised with the province. So I think the area associations play a really vital role for smaller and more rural communities. And I hope that you will all be attending AVICC. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Alternate Director De Andrade.
Thank you. Well, in the last month, I think was just about OCP and zoning bylaw amendment. We finally adopted both. The zoning bylaw was just adopted on Tuesday. And it was a long process, but I think one thing, we heard a lot from the community and we adjusted as much as possible. So that was for me in particular, very positive. Obviously, cannot never please everyone because it's such a diverse community, but I think we are close to something, or maybe something really good, or very close. So, but we reduced a lot the number of pages, so the document is way easier to read. The OCP, for example, used to have 269 pages and was reduced pretty much half. 131. The zoning bylaw used to have 264 pages and is now 81 pages. So it's quite easier we had 41 zones for the town of Gibsons, believe it or not. Now we are about 17, and we had 17 land use designations, and we are about 12. One thing that was included in this OCP was density bonuses, subject to housing agreements, so now it's explicit. So any developer can see right away in many zones, medium and high density zones, in the Upper Gibsons commercial zone and all the public institutional zones, they all can increase height with agreement. Parking demands have also been decreased. All environmental development permit areas, which we have 3, the aquifer, the geohazard, and environment sensitive areas, they were all updated. And and there's very good general objectives and policies for general but very specific areas for infrastructure, transportation, economic development, climate resilience, natural environment, and parks, and so on. So I look forward to see the impact of the new OCP and zoning. And on January 5th, we had a budget dialogue with the community, which actually we had attendance from the chair and vice chair. Thank you. And so it's pretty much a recap of what it was promised last year. So it was, I felt proud that we are on track. And we also presented the general capital priorities for the public and obviously sewer, water, and drainage capital projects, which when you see, you understand how substantial they are, but also that the majority of the funding comes from grants. So it's good for the public to understand it's not only tax money because it wouldn't be viable. And we also heard from the residents their wishes, which in this regard, there were not too many. So it felt like we are addressing what people, and dog parks came, but we are having a master plan done this year, as well the transportation master plan. So I feel that we are very on track on our strategic planning. So that's what I have.
Great, thank you very much. Director Inkster.
Thank you, Chair. Not much to say. It's just a little heads up to this board. Arrowhead came to us a week ago. I'm not sure if they've spoken to the EAS, but they asked the DOS for more money because of the cutbacks. And before anybody goes on and on about downloading, just remember that if we ignore need just based on arguments of somebody else is downloading and they shouldn't be, those groups don't get help. So the District of Sechelt stepped up with some more money for them, and I was told a few days ago that also the Sechelt has stepped up with more money for Arrowhead. Just remember that the services that Arrowhead provides are coast-wide services available to people from all over the coast, and they have statistics that's indicative of their service to all coast members. So just to let the rural directors know that they need help, and if you can help, you should, because they service the Sunshine Coast. Thanks.
Thank you. And Director Lee.
Thank you, Chair. I'll just keep this short. On January 13th, I attended a meeting with the RCMP. It's the quarterly update they give with statistics. It was basically the year-end wrap. For the rural areas, the stats are, I guess, in some ways alarmingly consistent. But I guess you could look at it that it isn't getting worse. So there's that aspect of it. I would like to see the statistics broke down to each one of our areas. And again, I made that plea to the RCMP to do that. They seemed like they might actually do it. So they might be getting in touch with some of the rural directors to see which ones are most interesting to them. They're not saying the whole suite, but perhaps a few of the key ones can be broken out by areas. So I wanted to let you know, if you get approached, that's what it's all about. It's not because you did something and they're coming to get you. And the other thing is, I had a chance at the round table to talk about a car that was abandoned in the ditch. It had looked like it had drove off the road, but it just stayed there. Quite a curiosity. I figured we're going to let the weeds grow up and it would become an urban myth and everybody could point and say, hey, there's a car down there, you know. But anyways, I mentioned it to our community liaison officer, and she actually had it removed the next day. It was actually a bit of a distraction and a danger because it was too unusual and people were rubbernecking. But so I just wanted to say I found the meetings quite useful. And the actions have to thank the RCMP for doing something that quick, because it could end up on their budget depending on who owns the car. So they're taking a bit of a risk, but it's good that they did. So thank you. That's it.
All right. Thank you, Director Lee. I think the only thing I'm going to add from the District of Sechelt is that yesterday we endorsed recommendations out of Committee of the Whole from our budget process. And so staff have gone away to draft the budget bylaws. And what we're looking at in Sechelt is 3% for operating plus 3% for capital. And the 3% for capital is something that's been every year since 2017, except in 2020 at the start of COVID. And yeah, so we're looking at sort of 6% overall. And obviously that all still has to be adopted, but yeah, that's what we're targeting. So that's it for director's reports. We have no new business. We do have an in-camera section. So I'm looking for a motion that the public be excluded from attendance at the meeting in accordance with section 91A of the community charter. Moved, seconded, all those in favor? Thank you, that's carried. We have nobody in the physical gallery. Is there anybody online? No, perfect. Then we're gonna go in camera.